Welcome everybody to this interview special edition of Horror Movie News. We have 2018 Screamfest ambassador and also horror icon, the godmother of horror, Lin Shaye, in studio today. Let's get it going. Let's go.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Buddy, yes, we are live now. Ooh, it is a special episode today. My God, I am okay. I just want to get into it. Okay, so I want to introduce her. So she has over 200 acting credits on IMDb. My God.
Oh my God, I can't remember any of them.
That's okay. I got you. All right, everybody, give it up for Lin Shaye.
Hello.
Welcome. Oh.
Thank you. That's the best introduction I've ever had.
I am freaking out of my seat right now.
Oh.
I cannot believe. And I am Anthony Becerra.
He's like, I don't know who I am right now.
Yes, you are.
Evan.
Evan.
I appreciate you having me on, bro. You bring me on for like the good stuff, man.
No, you're great.
Like this is crazy. He was like, can you fill in for me? I'm like, what we got going on? It's crazy. You'll be shocked.
Yeah.
You know, he brings me over the cool stuff, man.
Aren't they adorable?
Stop. No, but yes. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Really honored to have you as a guest. I never would have thought I'd be sitting here talking to you. If you were to ask me 5 years ago, I'd be like, there's no way. But now it's quite fantastic.
Going down.
And so you are let's do a brief overview of your work and who you are. But first off, you do have a birthday coming up, right?
I do have a birthday
This
coming.
Friday.
To be honest, I love my birthday.
What do you usually do though? Are you one person like kind of chills and do anything, or do you like have like a momentous occasion?
Yeah, big friends,
like,
little
like
friend
a parade.
group.
What do you do?
I mean, I've kind of done all of it, and actually this year I wasn't going to do anything, and now there's 30 people coming.
Hey-o, party time.
So, but I think celebrating your birth is an important thing for other than just getting all the presents or you hope you get from friends. But that's not the point at all. I really do enjoy thinking about the day that life started, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good things in between then and now.
That's great.
That's a good way to look at it.
It's nice that your birthday's in October because my birthday's also in October.
Libra.
Yes.
Libra.
Yes.
Neither one of us can make a decision about anything.
It's because we see both sides to the coin every single time. It's like I'm my own worst enemy. But that's okay.
What date? What's your
October 2nd.
Oh, so you just had a birthday.
It was. He had a
Happy
nice little
birthday.
shindig
Thank
too.
you.
Happy birthday, Anthony.
Thank you, and happy future birthday. to you.
What did you do on your birthday?
I ate Korean barbecue.
It was awesome.
And I got drunk at the same time, and then we had karaoke.
I came for the karaoke portion, and they were like 3 sheets to the wind by that time, and it was like rambunctious.
Well, I'm sorry I missed it, but happy birthday.
Oh, it's fine. That's fine. You'll catch the next one.
Right.
But yeah. Exclusive invite, right? But yeah, I want to talk to you. Yeah, so going over your filmography here. One of your earliest roles was, I believe, Hester Street back in 1975.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then from there, you went on to do Nightmare on Elm Street, where you played the teacher in the classroom of the main
So far,
character.
I've been a horror and a teacher.
And we didn't want to say what the role was at Hester Street. We just kind of gloss over it.
There is a great story if you want to hear a really quick story about
yes, please.
that was my very first film, really, and it's a wonderful film if you've never seen it. That Joan Micklin Silver directed, a woman director, and which there were very few of at that time because that was 100 years ago. But no, but all kidding aside, so there was this wonderful role of this prostitute, and they cut the scene quite a bit back for timing purposes and everything. And I told my mother, I was all excited. I was in my first movie, and there was going to be the premiere in New York, and so my parents came, and I told my mother, kind of what I was doing. So I'm sitting next to my mom, and the scene was cut, as I said, quite a bit, and pretty much all you saw was me leaning forward with a breast exposed, and I'm kind of looking at my mother, and everything was fine. She was cool. The movie ended. They start rolling the credits, and I'm looking. I can't wait to see my name. I'd never seen my name in print before like that. And running, we get down to the very one at the bottom. It says Lin Shaye Horror. And my mother stood up, walked out of the theater, and vomited.
Oh my gosh, she was horrified, bro.
She was horrified, literally.
I didn't even mean it, but you are a
She
very
could
sharp
have been
lady.
prostitutified.
Prostitutified. You are a sharp
But
lady.
it didn't happen. We shortened it
Wow.
to the alley term.
Oh, but she was
my
inconsolable. I'm sure she was. How did she?
Yeah, what was she feeling like?
She just, my little girl Linda with the braids and the bows, and here she is, a horon for everybody.
Oh, poor mom.
On screen.
Oh, God bless her.
It was really, it really was traumatic for her. And, you know, we all got over it. But my mother always said, "You sure you don't want to be a teacher?"
Hey-o. Speaking of which, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, speaking of which, I could have
got to be a teacher.
I got to be a teacher.
That's awesome. Yeah, you've also been on the Twilight Zone and the show, right, back in 1985, I believe.
Right, it was the
remake.
rebooting that Wes Craven directed
Right.
the episode.
Yeah.
Right
I
on.
have another story about that if you want to hear it.
All the
Yes,
stories,
that's why we
please.
brought you here.
I'm all storied up from today, but the audition, Wes was one of the best people ever. I mean, I like to say he was really the angelic demon. He was truly an angel of a person, and he had rosy cheeks and was handsome and always this sort of very shy smile on his face, and really a kind, great man and a wonderful director. Okay, so I'd met him on Nightmare on Elm Street, which is before The Twilight Zone, and Bob Shaye is my big brother
Right.
who produced the first Nightmare on Elm Street. So and told Wes to put me in his movie, hire my sister. So that was how I met Wes.
Wow.
So I came back in to audition for this because it was a network show, and the casting, I read the scene, and it was kind of an emotional scene, and it doesn't take much to make me cry in general, but it was kind of a touching little scene for the character. And when I finished, the casting director said, "Can you do it again a little less sappy?"
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And I take my craft very seriously, including my own emotionality.
Happy.
So I gave him the finger.
I didn't read about that.
And Wes was standing in the back of the room with his arms folded, just like looking down, but cracking up on inside. And of course, I got the part. And Wes just said to me, "Good job."
Unbelievable.
So you're probably one of the few actresses who can flip off someone and,
Well,
and get the role.
I knew I had done the wrong thing, but it was too late. The finger was already up.
It went up and you're like, oh no.
Oh, my God.
Your body just reacted.
Really, totally. Well, I mean, it hurt my feelings. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
really, it was like, I mean, when I think about it now, it was, I thought, I really put everything I have into what I'm doing. That's the kind of an actor I am.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't sappy. If you want me to be less emotional, so tell me in a professional way to be less emotional. But that was really not, that was mean, I
Yeah,
felt.
rude.
I don't like mean people. That's no fair.
Well, it's a good thing we're not
Yeah.
mean.
I'm
right?
not-
Hey.
Well, are you? I'm leaving.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, but
Not yet.
but as far as before even acting, like, do you remember like what did you want to do like before you got into like film? Like was
Well-
you know like you're like I want to be a firefighter. Like what did you want to be?
It sort of just happened. I mean, for real. I mean, I lived in a neighborhood without kids. And so I used to spend my time entertaining myself in my room with my dolls and my stuffed animals. And I literally would make up stories, and I would take all my clothes out of the closet and dress up as different characters. Wow. And my mom kind of let me go. I mean, she knew that was how, I wasn't hurting anybody. I would just
Right.
have to clean up all my clothes at the end of the day. And I just loved storytelling. So as I got into grade school, I loved being in plays. My first role was as an Indian, and I remember I asked my mom to get me a brown turtleneck because I thought that was a good costume because it would make my skin look dark.
That's excellent.
So, and then just doing school plays, and I was good at pretending to be somebody else. And in summer camp, there was this character that was supposed to be dumb, and I remember I was walking around going, "Duh." And everybody would go, "Well, do that again." It was really getting encouragement from your peers to, be funny. It's
Yeah.
like comedians start like that often. And and it was really doing school plays. And it wasn't until I graduated from University of Michigan as an art history major, I got my first job at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in the registrar's office. Wow. And I'm going to be someday, I don't know what, a curator. And then I kept thinking, when do I get to be in a play? And I thought, maybe there's a career, maybe I should go back to school is really what I thought. So I did. I got into Columbia University had a new theater arts program.
Wow.
So I got accepted, and I had a 3-year master's program at Columbia in New York, which was all acting and theater.
Incredible.
Oh, it was fabulous. 12 hours a day.
Just acting.
Acting and scene study, and it was dance and movement and voice production, and I was the happiest I could ever be. And I realized I really kind of had a gift. I was able to step into somebody else's life, and it didn't seem like pretend. It felt very real, and I'm forever grateful.
Hey.
When was it when you realized you had that gift?
You're like, I'm kind of good.
Yeah. When you had that realization.
Other people sort of telling me and feeling it, just feeling like I was comfortable in that skin.
Wow.
And I couldn't wait to do it. It was really fun for me. It was always scary. It's still always scary. I'm still always terrified.
Same right now.
Yeah, really. But it really it's worked out. I mean, I had
I would say.
I would say you did.
but I had no goals or anything. It was not like, I'm going to go to Hollywood. I mean, everything sort of unfolded and in the best way, really. And I did theater for a long time in New York. I was in New York 10 years and did off Broadway, Broadway. I did Lincoln Center, a wonderful play called The Taking of Miss Janie about the black and white issues in the 60s.
Excellent.
That Gilbert Moses, I don't know if you know who he was.
My mother
directed.
would tell me about that.
Yeah, she probably would, because it won a Drama Critics Circle Award. It won all these awards, and it was Jack Nicholson, believe it or not, who I came out to L.A. to meet him because he had inquired about me for Going South, which was a little movie they did in 1977, I think it was.
And he directed it too.
He directed
right?
it. And he had seen some pictures. It might have been the Academy Players. I don't even know. But my agent said, they inquired about you, and they went back to L.A., and I wrote him a little note and said, "Dear Mr. Nicholson, thank you for inquiring about me. These are pictures of me with curly hair. These are pictures." I went through every headshot I had because he had seen my picture somewhere.
Yeah.
And I sent it special delivery because there was no FedEx yet.
Right. So cool.
I sent a special delivery, and the next day or whenever they received it, they got a call from Marion Doherty's office saying, "Jack wants to meet you as soon as..." Oh, I put P.S. I'll be in Los Angeles for a short trip in the next week, which was total BS.
Right.
And he sent a note saying, "Please tell Lynn to get in touch with me when she gets to L.A."
That's excellent.
So I got on a plane that next morning and got a fever blister the size of a basketball.
Oh my goodness.
So I was like walking in. I put a lot of mascara on because I was it was hilarious. I was staying at the Chateau Marmont. Betty Buckley was a friend and staying there. She said, "Come, I'll take care of you for those couple days."
Yeah.
And I got one line in the movie and got to go to Mexico for 2 weeks with them in Durango with John Belushi, Veronica Cartwright, Chris Lloyd, Nicholson, Danny DeVito. It was
my goodness.
It was heaven on earth.
Yeah.
And my line was, "He ain't for you, Serene." Thank you.
Brilliance. Absolutely
love
brilliant.
it.
And I stayed. And then I thought, this was easy. So.
Right on.
Wow.
It's something interesting that kind of resonated with me. How you said you had no goals, but you just knew that you liked doing this thing, which is interesting because something with me that I struggled with growing up was something that personally I didn't really felt like I had any goals or any ambition, but I just
because they tell you you're supposed to when you have to.
Right.
They.
Yeah, society, and it's like an internal struggle that I always dealt with. And I was wondering, did you have a certain struggle that you dealt with as well because of that lack of goals, or were you just you're just happy doing it? I was just
on the train.
Okay.
I mean, honest to God, I was just on the train, looking what was passing me by, and just. When I was in New York, especially, there was Backstage and Show Business. Those were the two little trade papers. Mm-hmm. And they'd list all the equity and non-equity shows auditioning, that week. And I would check them off, and I would go to each one. I remember Otto Preminger. I also was shameless. I didn't think about what I looked like or what I was right for or anything. It was just this looked interesting, you know, and it was the character would be described as charismatic, energetic. I go, oh, that's me, you know. And Otto Preminger, I don't even know what the movie was, but I knew he was like big and fancy, and it was on it was in Third Avenue somewhere, and I remember it was and they had it was like an open call, I guess.
Wow.
I got dressed up and I got on the bus going up Third Avenue, and I ran. I remember I ran like about 6 blocks to get into the office.
Absolutely.
And I come in, and everybody turned around to look at me because I was sweating.
Absolutely.
And I said, I'm here to meet Mr. Preminger. And
Oh my God.
just looked, and they said, okay, could you sign in here, please? So, and I met Mr. Preminger, and he said, hi, what is your name? I said, Linda. It was Linda Shaye then. I said, Linda Shaye. He said, how old are you? I think I don't even know what I said. I probably was like, like 28 or something. And I think I said 22. And he said, okay, thank you. That was it. That was the whole thing.
Wow.
And I kind of walked out, and I was feeling, I just remember this because I thought something important was about to happen.
Ooh.
And it didn't.
Okay.
You know, not only didn't it happen, but it was, you know, you were left kind of holding your breath because.
Right.
So I turned around and I ran back 6 blocks and got back on the bus and went back home and checked off the next thing. You know, I just was sort of, I was in a weird way unstoppable about trying.
Yeah, you were very. It sounds like you were very tenacious about it.
Yeah. I don't even know how to frame this question, to be honest with you. But like, so I've been trying to frame it a certain way. So, see, you've been fortunate to be in movies for a while, though. You know what I mean, as a woman. But like, things are like for women are getting like more diverse and more developed.
Right.
And like, can you tell me what's the biggest difference between back in the day woman roles and like now?
Oh. This is another question we've actually addressed a little earlier as well. This whole mixing of male-female at some level, that women have been taught to be,
Yep.
you know, pardon the expression, but, you know, sit with your hands folded and do what you're told.
Right.
And the boys are allowed to, like, I mean, this is, you know, I grew up in the 50s, so it was
Right.
classic that, you know, the hoods with the comb back hair and the
Yeah.
girls with their little boobies, sorry the expression, but little pointy bras. I mean, the bras look like they'd hurt you.
Right.
Yeah, I was always scared of those when I was young.
But I mean, that was the classic male-female. The girls sat with their pointy bras, and the boys with the thing and the hood and Elvis and that whole prototype.
Right.
And I guess, you know, and very slowly there's just been changes that have happened slowly, and of course lately it's very prominent what's happening with gender mixing.
Interesting.
That women are being able to act more like what's called a man, which in most people means strength and persistence and dominance and aggression, all things which are considered testosterone things. And men are sort of being allowed to be softer.
Yeah.
And I think it's fabulous. And it doesn't mean you're gay. And even if you are, it doesn't matter. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about humanity. We're talking
Right.
about qualities that make you a human being.
Right.
And that feelings that we all have, whether you're male or female. Men are finally allowed to cry, and it's okay. And women are finally allowed to sock somebody in the face if they need
Absolutely.
to. And that's okay, because that's what you deserved. You know, I don't believe in physical violence necessarily, but sometimes. And so I think, to answer the question, I think that all reflects in our media, which is so extensive right now. It's not just movies, it's not just television, it's cable and Twitter and Schmitter and, you know, I mean, every little thing with the thing. And that finally women are, and Elise, my character in Insidious, was one of the wonderful things Lee Winnell did for me and for women, that in that third episode, the third chapter, I give it to the demon. I mean, I knock him on his ass, and I tell him, come on, you know, I mean, I do that whole kind of Cagney thing. And, which was not written. It just was like, that was the feeling I had. And the response to that was so amazing, that people were so excited to see Elise get what someone else deserved because they had harmed her. So again, I think that the whole male-female thing is getting a little bit more mixed, and women are allowed to be stronger, more independent, speak their mind, and men are allowed to be more vulnerable, more independent, and speak their mind. It's really the same issues, but they're just being, they're now allowed to mix in a much more wonderful way. I think it's fabulous.
Awesome.
And I love playing. I am a strong woman. I never, but I don't think about that's what I'm saying is I don't think about gender. I have a strong soul. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's like they like it's not just you per se. It's just how they perceive like men and women. They put them in these certain
in
places.
boxes.
Yeah,
and there's no room for boxes anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
There's too many people.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we all just got to realize that we're all just, beings on this planet, and like there's
trying to solve problems.
Yeah, there's no right way for anyone to be, It's just we're all just being, and
being respectful and truthful, and when you think about what qualities, the best qualities of humanity, so I'm sorry to sound so kind of corny, but that's really what we should embody, and we should give back to each other.
Love it.
No, yeah, I totally agree. And also, you need to mention Insidious Chapter 3, which is like my personal favorite. Insidious.
It genuinely scared me the first couple,
Dude,
man.
that breathing, man.
It's still, I'm the husband, man. There's certain things men do have to be, though. You know what I mean, Lynn? We still gotta project straight to our wives. You know what I mean? I'm in the theater with my wife hiding, man. I blame you for many of this. It's ridiculous.
You're female.
Vulnerable. I'm feeling vulnerable, and you just told me it's okay to cry.
Yeah.
I'm so scared.
I cry in the theaters all the time.
And my wife she's just laughing. Oh, I do too. I ain't gonna lie, but
yeah.
like it's like my wife, and I'm like, this movie scares me to death, man. I'm like, hi, mom, I'm like this, and then she's like, and I'm like turning my head like this. It's like really embarrassing. It's really embarrassing.
I love it. I'm very proud of myself.
You should be.
And also, Lee Winnell directed that one, right?
Yep.
Ah, that was great. Yeah, and he also recently directed the Upgrade film that came
Which
out.
is fabulous.
I loved it too.
I
Yeah,
did too.
It was really great.
I told him I think they're the best fight scenes that I've ever. There are a couple fight scenes in there that are the best thing I've ever seen. Just about with the robot.
Oh yeah, I love that kitchen scene when he's like first finally coming into it.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
There was brilliant work too from the actors. So
yeah, and so you did bring up Insidious. So the first one was released in 2010, and I want to mention that you did win the Fangoria Chainsaw Award and Fright Meter Award for Best Supporting Actress.
Really,
and
thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. And also, I read a little tidbit on it of like. And I want to ask you if it was true that when you read the script for the first Insidious side, it kind of like spooked you or scared you so much that you had to like lock it away
in the closet.
Yeah,
I totally did.
Oh no! Well, what about the script got you to that point?
Mm-hmm.
I am not I read it with an open mind. I had met James through a friend, a mutual friend, and he called me and said, we have this script. I had done a little short for him first and met Lee, who was acting in it, called Doggy Heaven. That was an Xbox, it was a prequel for an Xbox release, which was how I met James.
Oh, okay.
And so anyway, he called and said, we have this script, and he sent it over, and I read it in bed. It was late. It was like 1:30. I wanted to read it right away. And Lee had typed it. It was all typed by Lee, basically. Mm-hmm. Wow. And I remember he changed the font when we went into the further. It was like this, and there was something about the font got wavy and wiggly, and I'm all by myself upstairs.
Impressive.
Seriously, and I realized I was breathing. I was kind of breathing shallow, and I got cold, and I was really uncomfortable. and the whole description of the further I thought was brilliant. Absolutely. It was really this. Lee is very. He really follows he doesn't skip any beats. He really followed and led you directly into what that world might be like with the demons, and it was beautifully written. And at the end of it, I kind of just closed the script, and I thought, I don't want to sleep with this up here. And I literally went downstairs and I put it in the closet.
That's a truly good horror story.
Truly.
Yeah.
And I knew I wanted to do it.
Nice. That's awesome. All right. So now I want to get into Screamfest. So Screamfest will be running from October 9th, which is tomorrow.
Correct.
To October 18th at the TCL Chinese 6 Theater in Los Angeles. And tickets can be purchased on screamfestla.com.
Yeah.
So yeah, on there there's tons of info for you. You can check out the lineup for the films that are being featured as well. And we're gonna go over a couple of the like special events that's happening as well. But just a brief overview of this festival. So Screamfest is America's largest female-run and longest-running horror film festival in its 18th year, and it will be taking place again by October 9th to the 18th at the Chinese Theater here in Hollywood. And its original inception started back in 2001. So over the last 17 years, Screamfest has served as an amazing platform, launching careers, helping garner distribution for filmmakers. And it was formed back in August 2001 by film producer Rachel Belovsky. Screamfest Horror Film Festival is a nonprofit organization that gives filmmakers and screenwriters this amazing platform in the horror and science fiction genre, which is two of my favorites. And one of my favorite movies is A Thing that mixes both of them. You love The Thing?
That's his baby. That's his pride and joy.
Tell me what you gave me for my birthday.
Oh, he's very kind. I got him like the screenplay, like in a box, like of The Thing.
He assembled it himself and he put it. It's great.
I didn't think he went crazy.
I like
That's
Melted.
great. That's a great story.
I fell to the floor and I hugged it. It was great.
He loves that film.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. So the festival is known for discovering paranormal activity in 2007. Other past premieres include 30 Days of Night, which is one of my favorite like depictions of vampires. Oh, they're so destroyed. Let the Right One In, which is such a great another like somewhat like vampire.
He likes horror. If you didn't know, he likes horror.
I was getting the idea.
Yeah, I just want to let you know.
I just got the show. Also, The Grudge, which you are also going to be in the remake of
guys.
2019.
The Grudge.
Guys, get ready.
I'm
not joking. No, I'm not joking. This is going to be different than you think.
Because the first one's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's different. Nicholas Pesh, who is the director, was unbelievable. It was a fantastic cast.
Yay.
It's one of the scariest things I've ever been a part of. That's all I can tell you. And I'm so excited for the role I got to play. Also, it's very different than anything I've ever done. And
Really?
it's really.
That must be hard to say with like 200 credits under your belt.
Totally. But there was something not about Mary on this one, although that's one of my favorites. But there was something about The Grudge that totally. I mean, when I read that, I literally. Because I'd read it over and over because there's a lot going on in the story that I kept trying to sort of, when I read a script, I want to see what the whole is and what that feels like, because that will inform the storyline, even though the character already has a written storyline, how I infuse it, like what I put into it to support the whole. So I really do a lot of work. I work really hard when I don't just learn.
Oh yeah, I imagine.
So you just don't read your part, huh?
No, yeah, right. I don't just read my part. Right. Sometimes I do, but depends how boring the rest of it is. Yeah.
This movie's terrible, so I'm just reading my part.
But this is really, I'm really excited about it. I haven't been as excited in a long time.
Yeah, I'm pretty like pumped about it because Nicholas Pesh, he also did Eyes of My Mother, and that's
scariest movie.
That is terrifying.
Scary stuff.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, brother.
Oh my lord. Yeah.
He's really. I told him in a little note. He's the Salvador Dali and the Magritte of filmmaking.
I watch those kind of horror movies in like sections. Like I can't watch them all through.
Oh no,
I watch them like in a couple
Eyes of My Mother caught me totally off guard. I didn't know what it was about.
Me either.
Awesome.
And it sort of takes you, because he juxtaposes such oddity, which already is unsettling because it moves you off your center. Because when things don't end up the way you were thinking, he kind of would lead you to a place and then put you there. And then you go, well, wait a minute, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So then he would kind of take you forward again and then put you back there. You go, wait a minute, I just got out of there.
Yeah,
Don't put me back there again. And there's I totally adored him. He along with James and Lee and Wes Craven, of course. I mean, I think this guy is super, super, super talented and the sweetest man ever.
Yeah.
I love these horror guys are sweethearts.
Sweethearts.
Unbelievable.
Isn't that crazy?
I love that.
He used to bop around the set. I mean, I used to tease him a little bit. He wears his baseball cap and he had little curls kind of coming out the back. And he would run from one camera to the other and always available. You had any question, I would go, Nick, and no matter where he was, he'd go, right here. He'd be right over with any answer, any question. Nothing intruded on what he was doing. He was a real collaborator and in embracing all your questions and even your own answers. It was just great. I loved it.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. That's awesome. Yeah, I've been following him ever since I saw As My Mother, and he also came out with Piercing, which I
can't wait. I haven't seen it.
I was like, I have yet to see it because it's hard to find, but yeah, it's coming out soon, I'm sure. But yeah, that's set for release in 2019. The Grudge, I believe.
The Grudge is, I think, August 16th. I think.
I don't know.
2019.
August 16th, somewhere it's August 2019.
Nice, yeah, and I have been tracking on this show as well, so I'll keep everyone
Keep me
updated on
updated,
that.
Tony,
Yes,
Tony.
of course.
And if I know anything, I'll let you know.
Let us know.
Oh yeah, hit
Lane.
us up on social media. I'm always there, just
can
like
we,
Nick. Just be like, Tony, I'm here. What's up?
Can we talk about your like creepiest role ever? And that is you in Kingpin.
Oh, I saw that clip.
You know what?
Ridiculous.
To date, that's my favorite movie.
I can't.
nice.
I mean, with all the wonderful because that also has an incredible story. They wouldn't see me for the part, and I had met the Farrellys on Dumb and Dumber.
You gotta
Did
tell me
one-
how.
Oh my God! I dressed up. For 6 weeks, I worked on that. She's described as the angriest, ugliest woman God ever let loose on the planet. And I thought, I got to do this. I have to do this role, and I have to figure this out. So I got obsessed, and I kept calling Pete because I knew them, from the first Dumb and Dumber a little bit. I had done that one little role of Mrs. Nougaborn.
Yes.
And they kept saying, we love your work, but we just don't think you're right for this. And I literally sat on my bedroom floor in front of this double mirror we had, and I started putting hair coming out of my nostrils. I put egg on my face to give me a bad, like, scaly yellow complexion. I ran my brow together. I bought that little outfit at Aardvarks on
You were
Melrose.
kidding
me.
No,
Really?
I was ready to go, and everybody wouldn't see me. I wrote Pete's notes. Finally, literally, there were 5 days before they were starting principal photography. And my agent had just died, and I'm literally I'm sitting at my dining room table, and it was my ex-husband who came in. I was crying and I had mascara running.
Wow.
He said, "What's the matter with you?" And I said, "My agent's dead, and I can't get an audition for Kingpin."
Oh my God.
He said, "Well, I can't bring your agent back," but he said, "Why don't you call Steve Stabler, who I don't know where he is these days, but he's forever in my gratitude." He was one of the producers on Dumb and Dumber. They said, "Call him." And I said, he said, "Try it. It's after lunch. He'll be in his office." So he picked up the phone. This is a message for all of you who think don't pick up the phone. Pick up the phone.
This is crazy.
He picked up the phone. I said, "Hey, Steve, it's Lin. Shaye. Oh yeah, I know. We got your messages and blah blah blah." And I said, I just wanted. He said, "We really love you, but we just don't think you're right." And I said, "But I worked out this whole presentation. I've been sitting on the floor in my bedroom for 6 weeks developing." He said,
my God.
He said, "All right, we'll bring you in on Thursday." So this was Tuesday. I dressed up totally as what you see in the movie.
You gotta be kidding
in
me.
my outfit with the egg in the nostrils, and I got in my little Saab convertible and drove to Santa Monica. I came into the audition where they were auditioning on this building on Ocean Boulevard even. There were no chairs, so I sat down on the floor to wait for my turn. And Rick Montgomery, who was the casting director, he kept walking by me. And I said, and I thought, I passed my time. I said, "Rick?" And he looked down, he said, "Lynn?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh my God, I thought you were a homeless person."
Oh my God.
So he brought me in, and I was a nervous wreck. And I read the scenes, and the guys were like, they were all in there. I mean, Bradley Thomas and Pete and Bobby and all the Farrelly brothers. And when I walked out, they said, "Well, you're the scariest person I've ever seen." And I went on, washed my face, and went home. And I thought, at least I got a chance. And the next day, Steve Stabler called, and he said, "I'm not supposed to tell you." I called him to thank him. And he said, "I'm not supposed to tell you, but you got the job."
Unbelievable.
And that was it. And they said, "Whatever, just do what you did. Just wear that outfit." And he called it my clown suit.
That is like permanently burned in. I used to watch that movie.
It's my
religiously.
favorite. It's my favorite, and also because of that whole story.
Unreal.
Damn.
Relentless. You got to be
Yeah.
I
relentless.
was telling my wife. I tell my wife. I was like, "Babe, you remember Kingpin, Rash?" Because I show her like movies. Remember Kingpin? Because we watch it for years.
It's my favorite movie.
And she goes, "That was her." I said, "Remember?" I said, "That's her." She goes, "That is her." I said, "She's just unrecognizable, is she not?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "That is ridiculous." It disappeared in that role, by the way.
And then Magda, and then came after that, Something About Mary. Those were really, those guys are the best. And Pete Farrelly has a new movie that's killing it right now that just won Toronto Film Festival. It's called Green Book. It's a plug for Pete's movie.
Shout out to Pete.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fantastic. And I'm glad because he hasn't really done anything that's been public, that public for a long while. They've done some TV and stuff, but they are gifted. They're gifted writers and philosophers, in my opinion. Wow. They're really. So I wish him good luck.
Wow.
Right on. Yeah. So now I mentioned that I wanted to go oversee some special events happening with the Screamfest. So one of the first is honoring Gail Ann Hurd with the Career Achievement Award. And that's happening on Tuesday, October 16th. That's going to be followed by a screening of Aliens and The Terminator. And she also produced and co-wrote The Terminator. And she also worked on Aliens. And now she's executive producer for The Walking Dead, Fear of the Walking Dead, and is a consultant on The Talking Dead.
Cheese and crackers.
Also, after that,
She's talented.
I know, she is a powerhouse.
Jeez.
And then after that, we got Bride of Chucky's 20th anniversary with a special screening. Yep, that's happening Friday on October 12th. That's on your birthday.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. It's going to be a screening followed with a Q&A of writer Don Mancini and producer David Krishner. And lastly, the third one is Serpent and the Rainbow's 30th anniversary, which is a beautiful film. Movie, yeah. Special screening on October 10th, followed by a Q&A with producer David Ladd and assistant director Bob Engelman. And your film, The Final Wish, is getting the world premiere at Screamfest as well.
True.
Yes, directed by Timothy Woodward Jr., and it's cast, of course, Lin Shaye. Also Michael Welsh from the Twilight franchise, Tony Todd from Final Destination Hellfest, who just recently came on, Candyman, yeah. So, and also Spencer Locke from Insidious: The Last Key, Resident Evil Afterlife, Resident Evil Extinction. So like the Resident Evil films, and that's also like a reunion for you two, right? Because you both were on The Last Key.
Yeah, kind of. It is definitely. I mean, she's wonderful in it as well, and she's a wonderful actress and a beautiful girl. So I was glad to get to have her, to work with her in the film. We didn't have scenes together in this one, but it's fun to know she's in it.
Oh, okay.
She's part of the energy of the film, as they say.
Hey.
What does Miss Lin do when she's not acting? What do you do?
Oh. I enjoy, I must say, just in general, I'm having the most wonderful time in life, for real. And I spend a lot of time by myself, which I enjoy. I have a horse at the Equestrian Center, so I ride 2-3 times a week. I ride Western, and I show as a reiner. I have a little paint reiner. So I'm a cowgirl in my dreams, and always really did love horses, and it's wonderful to have that opportunity. I have a doggy and a kitty, and I have a beautiful home and wonderful friends, and I watch a lot of documentaries. I don't watch a lot of movies, which is kind of, I'm almost embarrassed to say. I'm not up on a lot of films I haven't seen, but I'm interested in reality, kind of, because that gives me my fantasy. And I learn from that in some way. Even stupid stuff, like even The Bachelor, sometimes I'm fascinated by watching these vapid, sort of uninteresting people become interesting because of the way they're juxtaposed.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of interesting, so it's not like I love to watch but I'm interested in real people.
Okay.
Wow.
And how they operate. So I watch people a lot. I love to go sit somewhere
People
and just
watcher.
watch. I am a people watcher.
Awesome.
All right, on. Yeah, I recently delved into the world of The Bachelor. Well, I watched The Bachelorette.
No, but it's interesting.
It is very intriguing.
And I actually got attached to some of the guys. I was like, oh, this is cool. And then they went on to Bachelor. Was it Bachelor on the Beach or?
Oh, that one loses me finally.
Yeah, that is wild stuff. But yeah, going back to your film, The Final Wish is premiering on Wednesday, October 17th at 8 p.m. And I'm wondering, when you have a premiere, do you like sit in the crowd and do you gauge audience reactions?
Do you like watching yourself? Do you like watching yourself on screen?
Not really.
No.
No. But I'll tell you something. When I saw the last Insidious, the final key, the last key. I'm getting mixed up with the final.
I know the final wish.
I hadn't seen the full movie. And I got so into the movie, I forgot I was in it.
Wow.
For real.
Awesome.
I mean, it was almost like I kind of didn't mind watching myself because I had already separated myself from myself watching the movie.
Wow.
So, but in general, I'm pretty critical if I remember the difficulty I had with a scene or the choices the editor made. Sometimes I get like, oh, why are they and or how I look and kind of like a dog, and I go, oh well.
Wow, impossible.
No way.
No, I mean,
Impossible.
listen, I photograph as a character. I mean, I have to remember that too. I'm not one of those beautiful. I'm not. I mean, I love my work and I love myself. I'm not putting myself down.
Don't you dare.
But we know what really beautiful women look like on screen. There is that, like Rose Byrne. Oh my God!
She's pretty.
No matter which way she turns, I mean, it's like I would like go, wait, let me see. In real life, I go, isn't there some place that she looks terrible?
There's got to be an angle. There's got to be an angle.
There was no angle. There was no angle. She's the most exquisite little creature ever, and so I get a little bit judgmental about how homely I feel like I am, and I'm not
200%.
fishing for whatever, but I'm happy. I like myself.
I think that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Truly.
So we gotta start wrapping up now, unfortunately. But that's I want to ask you one final question, which is, so you're the ambassador for Screamfest, and I was gonna personally for you, what are you most looking forward to in this?
I'm looking forward to the fans, and to the little thing I came up with is screaming is good for the soul.
Yes.
I think I should put that on a T-shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's
Actually,
great.
that would make a great T-shirt.
That'd be great.
And festival and celebration is also good for the soul.
Mm-hmm.
So Screamfest is good in all directions. Embrace your screaming and embrace your celebration.
You're
Right on.
you're a damn good actor. Which is
Great actor.
Thank
you're
you.
a hell of an actor, but and it's interesting because horror, kind of that's like they don't put that hand in hand, like the acting ability in horror movies. Like it's kind of like got that negative connotation where it's like there's no real actors in horror.
Right. It's just
You're an exception, but what makes a good actor? Do you think? What makes you good at your craft? You know what I mean? Because
first of all, being a good listener, because really acting is listening, and what you say. I mean, there's so many aspects to it. I think looking as a storyteller throughout your script. I mean, when you've got a script, you've got a blueprint. And there's a tone to this whole story. I usually try to read the script 2 or 3 times over and over in the beginning, just to see what is the whole of the piece, kind of. And then and then I make almost like a little roadmap of my own character, depending on how many scenes I have. And you want, like Kingpin, believe it or not, is perfectly balanced character. When you meet Mrs. Dumars has an introduction when she comes out of the thing and Captain Hook. She has a bad thing happen and she falls in love. There's betrayal and then there's revenge. So there's a really perfect little roadmap there to play. And I kind of look for that, and if it's missing, I have finally gotten enough courage to mention it. Yeah, and to say, you're missing something here. There's got to be a tag here. You got to know where I'm going. You can't leave. So I've literally, that's something I've gained over the years, is I've gained the confidence, and that people are listening better, too, than, like, excuse me, lady. I once did a TV show. That was how the director talked to me. Lady, could you move over there?
Oof.
Yeah, it was an actor who was the director. I won't tell you who it was, but I was horrified.
Oof.
I sought him out at the end and said, "Thank you. I had a lovely day."
you are a pistol.
I really did.
You are a pistol.
I knocked on his door, and I went home feeling satisfied. But so I think being a good listener and being letting your creative spirit sort of take over. Don't censor anything yet. Let your brain just go. I always work with a pencil, and I write down if it's a color, a pair of shoes, or any thought that comes into my head. I know I won't remember it. So I sometimes put little scratch notes all through the script. And I'm always glad I do that, because sometimes I go, what was that thing? I had a great idea about something. Oh, this was the line I thought would be better. And again, now I'm feeling the courage and having enough of a voice to be able to, to ask for it, to say, can I try this instead? And like Lee Winnell is very funny. He always says, you say, the way you do it the best is don't say, I'm not doing it, which sometimes I I did that once to Adam Robitel in Insidious. He said, I think we should do it this way. I said, no, that's not how we should do it. And Lee, who's such a diplomat, said, the way you do it. She say, let's try it your way, and then we'll try it my way and see what's right. And I just went, and I kind of did. I called myself on it, and I even said to Adam, was I insulting? He said, I don't know what you're talking about. So he heard me. He knew I wasn't being rude or disrespectful. It's just I was in the moment kind of thing. So don't censor yourself. Let everything file through and then start to make a shape. It's like clay. It's really like you throw a big pile in and then very slowly you start taking pieces out, and pretty soon you've got a shape you don't even know that you had. And that's what's exciting.
Right on. All right. Well, there's a good button right there. So we got to wrap up now. And so thank you so much again for coming on the show.
Thanks, Lee.
And if you can tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Yes. I have a face. I don't know what a hashtag is still, but don't worry about that part.
None of us do.
You don't have to hashtag me. But I have Lin Shaye on Facebook, and I usually have pretty much my 5,000 people. But always feel free to ask, to friend me, and I'll try and take everybody I can. Instagram, I have an Instagram which is MS Lin Shaye, Ms. Lin Shaye. That's my Instagram account. I'm happy to have you on my roster. And then I actually have a Twitter account also, but I can't remember. I think it's Lin Shaye.
I believe it's Lin Shaye.
That's the one I was.
But there's two which I don't know which one gets seen the most, but you're welcome to
Just
join.
follow both of them.
I was about to say.
Follow me, baby. Follow me down the yellow brick road.
Any day. All right. Evan?
Evan T. Mack, Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, y'all know where you can find me.
Right on. And just again, once again, Screamfest will be running from October 9th to October 18th at the Chinese Theater here in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Get your tickets.
Yes, they can be purchased at ScreamFestLA.com. Remember, screaming is good for the soul.
Yeah.
Yes. And also festivities and just a celebration. And I am your host, Anthony Becerra. You can find me everywhere. Thank you so much. Oh my God.
This was a great interview, and I love you guys. Thank you for having me.
We love you too.
We do.
Yeah, find me everywhere at Tony B Tony _ She just wooted for me. Thank you all. Until next time, we have another interview coming up. Stay tuned. It's gonna happen. But yeah, peace out. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.